Welcome to the deep dive. Today our mission is to really cut through all the political noise around the Indian
The
Rupee,
INR.
right? The INR, and its, constant slide against the US dollar. We're going to deep dive into the sources and try to find the cold, hard economic reality here.
And that reality is so often buried under this idea of currency nationalism.
What exactly is that?
Well, for a country like China, an export giant, a weaker currency is good. It's strategic. It makes their stuff cheaper for the rest of the world.
Okay.
But for a country like India, which depends a lot on imports, a strong currency is seen as like a sign of national strength. So when the rupee falls, it just becomes this huge partisan issue.
That sets the stage perfectly.
Yeah.
Because while you see headlines screaming rupee at an all-time low, the sources we looked at say, well, that's kind of the point.
It's the expected long-term trend.
Exactly. I mean, you look back to 1999, it was about 40 rupees to a dollar. By 2019, it was 80. The decline is almost a constant. The real issue now seems to be the speed.
Oh, it's a chilling acceleration, really. If you just look at the 10 rupee drops, going from 40 to 50 rupees took almost 11 years.
11 years.
But this last one, from 80 to 90, just 3 years and 2 months. It's the fastest 10 rupee fall we've seen. So the decline is natural, but the velocity is what's worrying people.
And this is where it gets really counterintuitive, isn't it? Because this is all happening while globally the dollar is actually getting weaker.
Right. Most other major currencies are strengthening against it.
You had figures in the U.S. like Stephen Mirren pushing hard for a weaker dollar to fix trade balances. And it worked for most currencies, but not for India or Indonesia.
India is the big regional anomaly here. So the question is, why is the INR going in the completely opposite direction?
So what are the drivers?
Well, a few big ones. First, you've seen huge investment outflows, something like $17 billion this year. Foreign portfolio investors are selling their Indian stocks.
And just to clarify that for everyone listening, when they sell those stocks, they get rupees, which they then have to sell to buy dollars to take their money home.
Precisely. And that selling pressure pushes the rupee down. Then you add a high trade deficit on top of that.
Driven by oil, I assume?
Partly oil, yes, but also gold and silver. People are buying precious metals because they're scared of inflation and a currency collapse. It's a classic safe haven move.
And that fuels a kind of vicious cycle, right?
A really nasty one.
Yeah.
The exporters, they hold back on shipping goods, hoping they'll get more rupees for their dollars next week.
And importers.
They rush to buy now, before the rupee gets even weaker. Both of those actions just hammer the currency even more.
So how is the regulator, the RBI, responding to all this?
Well, in the past, they would have just jumped into the market and started selling dollars from their reserves.
Right, which sucks rupees out of the system and drives up interest rates.
Exactly. That philosophy has really changed. Now they've shifted to what the IMF calls a crawl-like arrangement.
A crawl.
Yeah, they're letting the currency fall gradually based on, economic fundamentals. They only step in to stop things from getting too volatile, not to defend some magic number.
And I guess the logic there is pretty sound. If you try to artificially defend a currency, you're just inviting speculators.
You're inviting a George Soros to come and attack you. He made his name-breaking currencies that governments were trying to protect at unsustainable levels.
So what are they doing now, specifically?
They've mostly stopped intervening in the spot market. Instead, they're sitting on a huge forward position, about $60 billion over the next 3 months.
So they're promising to sell dollars later, if needed.
It's a way to stabilize expectations without burning through your cash reserves today.
So let's boil this down for you, the listener. What are the implications? A weaker rupee has some upsides, right?
It does. It makes Indian exports more competitive, which is a clear positive.
And remittances.
A huge one. India gets the most remittances in the world, and those dollars now buy a lot more rupees for families back home.
But the big negative is imported inflation, especially oil, since India imports so much of it.
That's the real pain point. So what this all means is the depreciation itself is natural. It's expected, given the economic facts. The real fault, you could say, lies with those who made these grand political promises about fixing the currency's value in the first place.
So here's a final thought. If currency values really do hinge on these hard economic facts, as all the data shows, what kind of massive political event or, global shock would it even take to break this long-term downward trend? And what would the unintended consequences be if that kind of artificial strength was actually achieved?